Try to take advantage of this. Loda on the low ground does get netted in. Reverse polarity coming out of Hani. He's going to skewer him back into Era, and a crit instantly kills 3 heroes from the Tidehunter. Loda dies before he gets to do anything. Welcome in everyone to the Dreamhack Dota 2 Invitational. It is currently day number 9, and today on the ticker we're going to have Fnatic taking on Mouse. Mouse unfortunately taking an 0-2 loss earlier this week to Dignitas, and we're going to have that match for you guys in just a couple of minutes. But before that, of course, we have our introductions. Wepos, how's it going?
It's good, but the nameplates are wrong. Mike noticed it straight away.
No, it's okay.
It's really good.
It's trial and error, man. He's going to get it eventually. Trance didn't do it. He still doesn't even do it well.
Yeah.
And he's the one who was helping make the overlays anyway, so we can't really blame Mike for it. And of course, as always, on the other side of the desk, we have Scriff, our dedicated observer, and Bruno, the stat man.
We just lost a bet here with Scriff. Because, you know, when the show went live, we watched the mics and we were muted. I was like, we're muted. Yeah. We're not going to tell Mike. We're just gonna start moving our mouth when you point towards us, like.
He unmuted you, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
See?
He's learning.
He's on that, man.
He's fucking learning.
I really wanted to just make a joke.
Good job, Mike.
Party poop.
See, now Mike knows who his friends are because you bet against him.
Yes.
And Scriff said that he was gonna make it. See, I would have bet for Mike too.
I did?
No, you didn't.
I didn't.
Oh.
No, it
just didn't even exist. It was just like a self bet.
Yeah, it's a bet against humanity.
The train was coming, man, and I was ready to push Mike.
Yeah, the bus is like en route. Scriff's just standing there. He's ready. He's just like right under it. It's okay though because we've put you there before. But of course, really exciting match on the day, or for today, I should say. And Mouse versus Fnatic, and I think a lot of people are probably going to be favoring Fnatic for this matchup, particularly because, well, Mouse didn't really have the greatest performance the last time they were in the Dreamhack Dota 2 Invitational. So yeah,
I think what he's trying to write is brackets.
Brackets, yeah.
Rick, damn you!
Recap.
I just don't understand this guy.
Well, we still got time. We went live 15 minutes early for a reason. We have like a process.
No, but I wanted to just like take a peek into Mike's mind, trying to understand.
So it's just a guessing game.
Yeah, it was a guessing game. It was like the same thing, like with the mics, you know. But, okay, I guess you have.
Well, we can go into the recap video. That's perfectly fine with me. Of course, the last match we had was Dignitas versus Mouse. So here's that. It fogs with the Dual Breath, going to be doing a little bit more harassment. He comes in, sneaking with the Ace through, double Ice Path coming out as well. The stun under the tower, but Pos is actually going to get burned down anyway by the Firefly. Level 6 now on sneaking has basically no health, 2 Napalm stacks, and the Flame Break. I think done with this fight, the Bear actually gets a last hit on the tower and a reverse polarity on just the Bear. So, interesting, and Fata actually going to get Flame Break back. There's the lasso, and this is going to be a very, very dead mag, unfortunately. And RP gets stolen, hits it on Koikva and Alex. Macropire Dual Breath comes out, and a vacuum. Universe right here, sneaking going in, gonna go ahead and drop Firefly. Who do you want to go? No, he actually gets hexed and Finger of Death. You're not gonna be able to get a lasso off at all. Forced completely outside the base. Ice Path is gonna come off and hit Black. In the meantime, it looks like Bat Rider does end up finally going down. Currently a 1-for-1. Koikva for sneaking at the moment, and Black is gonna be the next one to fall. Very nice telekinesis coming out of Weight 2, and that's gonna be a melee Rex here. I honestly wouldn't be surprised. Yep, there's a GG. And Black trying to run away. Very nice Treant block from Way 2. Brilliantly done. Black completely stuck in place.
That's a lot.
Wow. That's over 90%, and they're actually going to get a decent vacuum right there. And here comes sneaking. 4-man coil, and the silent destruction actually goes off as well. Fata trying to get out of here. Ether Shock does a little bit of extra damage, but no, Fata breaks the coil too. 2 already down on the side of Mouse. Shackle right there and sneaking out to the melee creep, but I don't really think it's going to matter. Universe is basically just inside of the base. Managed to get a kill on Koikva. I did this fight, man. It's not going well for the side of Mouse. Black gonna be open wounds here. Aoi goes in. Black gonna be dropping here. Wouldn't even be surprised to see a GG. Yeah, Mouse just tap out 15 minutes in, and Dignitas take the series 2-0. So there you have it. That was Dignitas versus Mouse, a series that in its entirety lasted just under 40 minutes in total. So I think it's safe to say that Dignitas kind of came into that best of 3 favored. We did the pre-game voting and all that stuff, and we all thought, besides Bruno, of course, the stat man, he had to go with the underdog, which is fine, respectable choice, but Dignitas kind of ran through Mouse. And I consider Fnatic to be pretty much on the same tier as Dignitas, maybe even a little bit higher. I feel like lately they've been playing very, very well, and just as a team, they're one of the strongest teams in Europe, pretty much hands down. Mouse has been doing okay, but they've been struggling in terms of roster. They did manage to secure a new 5th in Quickva, so that's definitely nice for them. But today, I think it's going to be a hard match for Mouse especially.
It's going to be a hard match for sure. I mean, Fnatic, we've seen them pretty much destroy NTH.
Yeah.
When they played. It was a solid 2-0. I mean, NTH is one of the most solid teams right now. I don't know if you heard, but today the G1 League groups were announced, and the only 4 teams that will go to Phase 2, which is like considered the 4 strongest teams in North America and Europe, are Navi, Fnatic, No Tide Hunter, and Team Liquid.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, Fnatic pretty much top 4, considering. Yeah. And Mousesports, while strong team, they will have to work hard to actually make something happen here. They will have to rely on Black being just spot on and carrying the team to victory, and of course the rest of the team to actually
create room for him.
Yeah, exactly. Just make the plays for the first 20-30 minutes until Black can actually fully unload his manliness.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
very manly.
Very manly.
Very, very manly. And he's an awesome guy, too. Had the chance to meet him at Dreamhack Winners.
Yeah,
so
he's really nice.
it was a pleasure. But, of course, we do have a couple of other things to talk about here. We got some statistics between the matchups and whatnot, I believe, that we can get into before the game actually starts, as we are still waiting on a handful of players. So, Bruno, take it away.
Yes. So, head-to-head, Fnatic versus Mousesports. Actually, Mousesports has been around for so long, even from the time that it even has some people that are now playing Fnatic.
Yeah.
The first Mousesport, Trixie played there. There was Twista, there was like Sing Sing was playing there. But I mean, and then Fnatic pretty much came about, half last year. So these guys have been played around for quite a while. They actually, they haven't faced each other 4-9. They have been facing each other 13 times, and the record is 4-9, favoring. Actually, Fnatic, not Mousesports, because I'm reading everything like on the other side. Yeah. Anyways, Fnatic, 157 games, 91-66, 58% win rate. Most of that has to be during the 2013 because they were in a huge losing streak during last year. But now, being really, really strong, actually in March, they're 17-9, sporting a 65% record, which is quite impressive. On the hand of Mousesport, we have 355 games played, probably one of the most the teams with most games, apart from, of course, Navi and the guys that were from the beginning. Yeah. 188-9, 166, 53%. Also doing particularly well recently. They've been doing 15-10 in March, which is 60%. Not bad. And speaking of the times they faced each other, Fnatic won in D12 Season 1, StarLadder 4, the Premier League 3 and 4, and EMS. The Mouse won also in EMS, other of the cups, because there were many cups. D12 Season 2 and StarLadder 5. So while Fnatic favors, the record favors Fnatic quite a while, for quite a lot. Most recently, you see the D12, StarLadder 5, EMS, those are more recent tournaments. Yeah. And it seems that Mousesport has been able to at least trade even, instead of just losing everything against Fnatic. And that's it.
For the head-to-head.
And we're moving to... Yep, let's talk about the tournament. I'm just sorting now instead of sorting by GPM because when we were talking about best players, we were talking about who had the most GPM. I'm now sorting about kills. Of course, it all says 7. It's probably 7.3, 7.4, but I didn't have enough space to actually put everything. So yeah, the player with the most kills in the Dreamhack Dota 2 Invitational per game, it's Korok. That's the guy you see there.
At the top.
At the top. You see his GPM must not be the most exciting one because sometimes he plays mid as well, and of course you don't get as much farm as a dedicated carry. But yeah, kills a lot. Same with Sing, 399 GPM, but 7 kills, 12 assists. He's really, really involved. If you've seen the Cupid Red Pandas play, they also favor lots of team fighting, just start roaming and fighting since 8-10 minutes into the game. So it makes sense that they have such, not only a high kill count, but also assist count. And finally, the guy that does it all, he was also top 3 in GPM and also right now in top 3 in kills. That's Era from Fnatic, which we'll be playing today. So interesting to see.
It's cool.
Yeah, regarding heroes, we have a few heroes that have been unbeaten. Yeah, Nyx, Assassin, Nyx, the Lifestealer, and Chen are three of the most worthy of note. While the worst heroes have been Warlock, which Dignitas favor. So I mean, they didn't play it, but I think one of the Russian teams, either Virtus.pro or Empire, tried to work with Warlock, didn't work as well. Darkseer finally won a game.
Yeah, but what's interesting to see, he still lost 9 games.
Yes.
He was 0-6, I remember.
He was 0-6, 0-8, and then just 1-9 because he finally got to win one game. I think yesterday. And finally, Gyrocopter, one of the, I mean, used to be top ban, even just peaked in the first phase.
Yeah.
Not so peaked as we see, so probably still banned a lot. But even when he's peaked, not a crucial game changer. People are favoring more the Likes, the Luna, even the Phantom Lancer if he gets through the picking stage. So will be interesting to see what happens, how these things evolve during the rest of the tournament when the things start to get serious.
I really think today's matchup is going to be down to, if Fnatic sticks to their normal game plan, you mentioned that Era has one of the highest kill involvements of any carry in the tournament. He also has one of the highest GPMs. I think a lot of that's due to the fact that their playstyle in general is typically very aggressive. They love giving Era things like CK. They've run Wisp and CK from pretty much since the beginning of the team's creation. They just love that kind of a style that gives you the map influence to be able to just win the game within 20 to 25 minutes, and they've done so pretty often in the past. So if Mouse can actually deal with that type of aggression, and they can get Black the farm that he needs, and if they can get their hands on a Lifestealer, which Black plays pretty frequently and is one of his, if I'm not mistaken, favorite heroes overall, I think they'll be okay. But at the same time, Fnatic probably has done their homework as of Mouse, so this matchup still probably favoring Fnatic a little bit, but I think Mouse do have a chance here.
Yeah, I agree with you entirely in that. Normally I have something to say here, but I don't have anything to say because you pretty much said everything I wanted to say. So I'm just filling time.
I know. Let's watch the brackets.
I like that. So here is, nice segue. Group A, as you know, finished. 3-0 for Liquid, 2-1 Q Pandas, 1-2 Empire.
So Liquid goes straight to the semifinals.
To semi-final. We'll see that in a minute, but yeah, of course. For the Group B, we have Fnatic U going 1-0. Probably they can go 2-0 today if they win. NTH 1-1, still one match pending against Mousesports. Dignitas 0-1. But this is not the oh, come on, Mike. Come on, Mike.
Get with it, man.
Mike panicked. I just changed it to
Change to next one.
Someone's going to win, yeah. Of course, Team Liquid, as Script said recently, has gone to the semi-final. The first seed from the Group B will go to the other side of the semi-final. And the second and third seed will play against Empire and the Red Pandas, respectively. And I think maybe we have well, yeah, almost. It's 1-1, but 2 points, Mike. So
2 points for Dignitas. No, you need to add 2 points for
2
Dignitas.
points. Dignitas says 1-1, 0 points.
And then you win. Come on, do it live. We're doing it live.
Let's do it live. It's just a 2. But it's just 0, put a 2. Yeah.
Good job, Mike.
Good job, Mike.
Group B is now updated.
Yes, so Mousesports, they have to make something happen. If they lose today, they'll be in a really, really tough spot.
Yes.
But on the other side, if they lose today, the guy that's going 2-0 is just the first in the group. So they still probably can manage a third place. Even a second if they're extremely lucky and they lose to 1 today, if they win their next match. So until the last match, we will never know.
And that's what's so interesting about these groups, like the format, in my opinion, because you never know until pretty much the last.
Yeah, kids, our format is the best.
No, I'm not saying why. Just this format.
No, it is. But I mean, of course,
it's not our exclusive.
It's the most bang
format
for your buck in terms of games, especially for the teams
I
who are actually signed up for the tournament, because you have to play the least amount to be guaranteed some semblance of prize money, which is pretty important for a lot of teams who have these incredibly hectic schedules. So in order to be able to get something like that, not only is it exciting for the viewers because every single match matters, it's not like a round robin where you just have games that are being played halfway through the season that nobody really cares about. Shots fired. Either way, I do like this system quite a bit more just because it makes sure that you just have impact. You know, you really care about the teams more, you care about the games more.
Yes. And of course, as you said, pretty much until the last match, no one knows who comes out for and just get eliminated.
Okay. I'm doing it live, man.
Alright. Okay.
Well,
We're
well,
doing
someone's-
things live.
yeah, we'll
I
do
do have one quick question for you, Bruno,
Yes.
because Fnatic actually posed this question to me. Normally, when we have a European versus North American, we change the servers, and then whichever team isn't favored for server, they get their choice of side. But these two teams both are okay on the same server, so I'm assuming it's a one Radiant, one Dire, then coin flip for Game 3
Yes.
in terms of side. Okay,
And
just
who
double checking to
do
make
they
sure that
decide
we
who
know.
goes first for what side?
Well, I think it's just Radiant first pick in that case.
Yeah.
That's pretty standard, I think, for most tournaments.
Yes.
So that's probably the same for us. I don't have the rules like
No,
memorized,
I mean
so that's
we
why I'm
don't
asking
have
you.
rules specifically on that, but what we're doing here. Wait, Fnatic, because of the rules they play like CIS, because they have very bad internet connection against the assist. So the idea is that you do one European game, one you assist, and one coin flip.
For these two teams.
Yes.
There are 2 European teams.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Fnatic.
No, but
no.
isn't it
Sorry.
first come first serve?
No, sorry.
You were thinking it was...
Yeah, I was thinking that intense. I was still 2 European teams, so they all play in European servers.
Yeah, but for side and pick, isn't it first come first serve?
Yes,
It is?
it is. We did that last time.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
for
just say
and
first
then they
come,
just
first serve.
rotate, right? So
Fnatic were first in, so I'm guessing they won. For side.
And of course, we can go over the players really fast here from Mouse while we actually relay that information to the people inside of the game. We should probably organize this, so
We should probably
I'm
update
not
these as well. So they're-
hosting.
no, I
So they're
I
fair.
really couldn't find the picture of Koikva. I invite him or
No,
anyone.
I'm just saying like the roles, because Alex is still not solo mid. And Fata is still not off
Jesus.
lane.
Jesus, that's my fault. That's 100% my fault. It's just that I want to see him play solo mid. It's just
Okay.
my subconscious projecting.
Let's just get it out of the way. We'll go through the teams really quick here, so we can get this moving, get into the game a little bit faster. And we've apparently just switched teams because that's how we like to roll here. So for Fnatic,
faster. What are you?
well, yeah, faster, not just skip the space-time continuum, Mike, and just go all the way through everything. So yeah, there you have it. Both teams already done. Thank you for that, Mike. But we're still waiting on a couple of members of Mouse, actually.
Then why are
and
we hurrying?
I believe there's one member of Fnatic. I'm trying to give the viewership some sense of urgency on our part so they know that we're doing the best that we can to bring them the game in a timely fashion, Bruno.
But I mean, we can.
Sometimes what's important is not what you see, it's what you don't see. And we just have the overlay again for the teams.
That's
so,
why we're so important now, because they can't see us.
Era carry, Hanny solo mid, Trix offlaner, Notil support, Fly support. Next.
there you go.
Black carry, Alex solo mid, pass support, Fat offlaner, Koiba.
Yeah, I
He
mean, the
looks
real
weird,
would
but
be
he's
Black
a support.
Carry, Alex support, pass support, Fada mid, and Koigva offlaner. But yeah, it's wrong. It's wrong.
Who did the overlays?
I did the overlays.
Bruno. Well,
The
we're done.
overlays-
Continue.
Those overlays were fine, for the
Continue.
most part.
I tried.
Some of them could use a little work, allegedly. But the
Copy-paste
exciting thing
sucks.
is now since we've pretty much rehashed all the information that we could possibly give at this point in time, we can go for our predictions right now. Who do you think is going to take it? I'll go first, personally. I'm going to go Fnatic. I'm going to say 2-0. Webboss?
I'm gonna go with the same actually, because
Bandwagoner.
no, but I feel that Fnatic is so much stronger right now. You said before, just seeing the G1 League invites, and you were saying they're top 4. I'd say even they're top 2 with Na'Vi. Them and Na'Vi are the 2 strongest teams in Europe right now. So yeah, 2-0 Fnatic, and unless Mouse pulls something special out.
Yeah, of course. There's
We'll have to
always
see,
the
but
possibility for.
there's always a chance for them to take a game, but I still
Mhm.
think Fnatic's gonna take the series no matter what.
Can I do the next one?
Yeah.
Go for it, man.
Mousesports is gonna get the Cancer Lancer, so they're gonna get 1 game.
Okay.
So 2-1 Fnatic, but 1 game to Mouse with the Lancer.
I'm going to all Fnatic.
So everyone in favor of Fnatic. Only
Everyone
difference
favorite
is
Fnatic.
I give 1 game. to
I
Mouse.
should ask I should ask people what they think, right?
Oh,
Yeah, we can do
that's
that.
a
We
good
still got the
idea,
polls,
man.
even though they're a little
yeah,
bit
of course.
they're a little bit delayed, but we can still get them out there. for
Who will
everyone.
win today? Mouse with the Z.
Said.
Z. It's the same. It's just tomato. And Fnatic.
What else?
So let's do this. Let's create the poll. Mike shows the poll. Everyone's happy.
We're almost ready to go, by the way. We're just waiting for 1 guy, I think.
Yeah, and they still have time. Still have 9 minutes to show up. But I mean, surprisingly, there's 1 guy missing from each side, I think. No, Trix is there.
Trix is in the...
Yeah, everyone's
unassigned
actually, well, most people
What are
are
they on,
here.
bro?
Fnata is at the wrong team.
Apparently people in the lobby are actually upset too. I don't know why, they just said they were upset, so. Reasons unknown, Mike. Reasons completely
Because
unknown.
we said first pick on Radiant, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
That's pretty standard for most tournaments. It's like
Yeah.
Radiant side. Now that they fixed the mid pole, it's pretty much considered the inferior side now in some cases. So people just go for the first pick on that side. Since there's no actual server discrepancy between the two teams, it's normal to just have first pick Radiant on one side, swap for game 2, then game 3 is going to be a coin flip. It's pretty much the most even terms that we can actually go on. And since there's no seeding for this because it's a group stage, we can't very well give a team any side or pick advantage coming into this. So that's pretty much the fairest way we can do it. So if anybody's upset about that, what's up, son? But I'm looking forward to the game, Webboss.
Yeah, me too.
Fnatic
I want to
versus-
see how Mouse is going to try and tackle kind of like the tricore that Fnatic uses with farming 3 heroes. They always farm on Hani, Trixie, as well as Era. Like every game, unless they pick Meepo, because then no-tail farms. But yeah, I want to see how they're going to try and tackle that. Maybe Phantom Lancer, if they can get their hands on it, because
I
then
don't
it's
know,
like
man.
11 versus 5 or
Phantom
something. But it's still, I mean, 3 farmed heroes is quite strong against 1.
I feel like that's the one thing that Fnatic can probably handle better than most other teams is picks like Phantom Lancer because their style is just so innately aggressive. And you even have heroes like Trixie likes to play as Lone Druid. You get CK and a Wisp on Era and of course No Tail, and you get the opportunity to just run the mid game into the ground. Phantom Lancer has a very hard time stopping the early push and stopping that style of early aggression. So even though Mouse is very, very good at running a Phantom Lancer, I think that Fnatic might be one of the teams that you probably don't want to run it against because they can probably just counter it completely. And of course, we are actually all ready to go, I think, here. And yeah, everything's fine for the server. I already checked everything. We're good to go. Just gotta get a ready check from the teams.
Yes. And,
I'm sorry?
No, it says spectators, yes. It's normal. Shouldn't it say like...
No, that's normal. Like it
okay.
says Dreamhack Dota 2 Invitational right here.
Cool, cool, cool.
So we're just doing a ready check really quick, and then we can get the game started.
Yay!
Only a couple of minutes behind schedule.
You fucked this up, I'll never forgive you.
What do you mean? I didn't do anything.
It's all on you, Draskell.
It's all on me. Hashtag fire Draskell.
People are voting right
New
now.
Reddit post
Why
after
are
this
they-
game.
Why is Black saying that?
I don't know, but we are going to go ahead and get inside of the game. Everyone is ready to go. Miles is given the AOK. Fnatic is given the AOK. So it's game 1, of course. Dreamhack Dota 2 Invitational, day number 9. I remembered. I almost said 8, but I said 9. So we're going to go ahead and get into the draft in just a couple of seconds. But everyone pretty much on the same page in favor of Fnatic. We'll see if their aggressive style is able to counter Mouse's, I wouldn't necessarily say passive style, but I would definitely say not as extreme aggression as Fnatic has been known to be.
I mean, they have players that like to play aggressive. Both Koiko as well as Fata loves to play aggressive and try and get kills, but it still boils down to just Black getting as much farm as possible. And
Yeah.
like I said, it's going to be hard against 3 farming heroes when you only have 1 that you rely on your team. So we'll see what they want to do with it. But draft has just started.
And we had the result from the poll. Fnatic won 82% to 17 and something.
I can't really say I'm surprised
No.
at that result necessarily. And it's not really underestimating Mouse. It's just that Fnatic is so good right now. I mean, it was 17 and 9 just in March. I mean, that's a pretty impressive win rate considering everyone is really just knows the grindstone, practicing all the time. Q Pandas have had a really, really nice coming out as well. You just know that every single team is on top of their game at the moment, especially with the International, just a couple of months away. So no real problem, I would say, Mouse being the underdog. And even Wagamama said that they were happy to be the underdog as Q Pandas, so maybe they'll have the same effect here today on Mouse.
Yep.
But of course, we are inside the draft now. It's game number 1. First ban out is actually going to be Batrider, coming out of the side of Fnatic. Mouse, they're going to go ahead and take out a Wisp, so not really too surprising.
No, kind of like the usual bans for now. Batrider, some people think it's fine to play against him. Some people just want to get him out of the way, especially if they have a certain tactic. Like Fnatic probably have something that they want to first pick now. Otherwise, you would most likely try and leave the Batrider in the pool, since they got first pick, and then just knowing, or Mouse knowing that Fnatic always plays Wisp, just banning out that to be sure.
I think banning out a Wisp against a team as experienced as Fnatic at using it, probably a step in the right direction. The one thing that you can kind of punish typically when you're playing against that hero is the fact that he is a very, very weak laner and you can put something against him. But what Fnatic would typically do to compensate is just put him mid, especially if they're on Radiant side, because you can just put him mid, have him kind of walk around, rotate between mid and bottom if he needs to, depending on the situation. Sure, you can't mid pull anymore, but before it was just rampant. They would do that so often when they were on Radiant side and just abuse the extra experience and gold you can get from that extra lane. But of course, they've long since fixed that, so it's not going to be available, as we're going to see Nyx Assassin also take his way out here, courtesy of Fnatic. And Mousesports, I'm pretty sure they're going to stick to their wheelhouse here, probably try to get their hands on something like a Shadow Demon for Alex, Lifestealer for Black. Those are heroes that they really do love to play. And as you had mentioned, when you have a lineup that has 3 heroes farming, typically it's going to have a much better transition than 1 hero farming. But if that 1 hero is a Lifestealer, the impact is typically much greater.
Yeah, of course. But, or like you said, with having 1 hero farming against 3 heroes, if you can lock down the lanes a bit better, if you can get some good farm, or if you can have heroes that can play aggressive on those lanes, the 1 hero farming on Mousesport most likely will get more than the other 3 heroes. So if they can go for something some mid-game aggression, it's going to be a lot better. But Fnatic, first picking the Phantom Lancer.
First pick PL, so I think they've made their statement. We don't want to give anything away for free. Now, this is a hero who is basically like an ultimatum in Dota right now. It's like if you don't win by this point in time, you just won't win because of how ridiculously hard that hero is to deal with. And I mean, of course, that's exaggerating a bit. Sure, he can be beaten in the late game. It's just very, very difficult to do. Typically, the best way to deal with him is to just end the game in 20 to 25 minutes, make sure he doesn't get his farm. And I think Mag and Keeper of the Light is a good step in the right direction. Of course, it takes away from the combo that you're going to be able to pair together that's very, very common in the Phantom Lancer and the Keeper of the Light. But you're also getting a really nice team fight hero that in himself gives cleave to your team, which can help what other physical damage hero that you pick up to deal with those illusions. Yeah,
the cleave is one of the most important parts to have against the Phantom Lancer, just because, like you said, you want to kill off those illusions. But don't be surprised, though, even though they took away the Keeper from Fnatic, a Shadow Demon against the Phantom Lancer is quite good as well, since you can just disrupt the illusions and you get your own Phantom Lancer army. But Fnatic is actually going to skip out on the Shadow Demon and go for a Rubik and a Puck instead. And that still leaves the Shadow Demon in the pool, which, like I pointed out, is a very good pick against the Phantom Lancer.
It could be picked up right here, but if they did do that, then their tri-lane burst damage potential would still be quite high. With a Soul Catcher, a decent Illuminate timing, you can burst somebody relatively easy, but we don't know if Mousesport's planning on running an aggressive lane or not. Typically, Keeper of the Light, especially on Dire's side, you don't really see aggressive Coddle tri-lanes that much. It's not to say that it's totally rare, but typically you're going to see it in that safe position, abuse the fact that you can efficiently farm so well, and Mouse is definitely a team who, above all else, definitely know how to maximize their efficiency in terms of keeping up with the gold, and they're just going to go ahead and pick up an Alchemist. So that says to me, probably a tri-lane dodge just by seeing that hero.
Yeah, Black most likely going to play that in the safe lane and just try and farm as much as possible. I do really like that pickup right now. Since Fnatic went for a Puck, it's not that much of a farming hero, like we used to say. But so Honey most likely going to play that. So that removes that Fnatic's not going to have 3 farming heroes. Right now they only have 1. They might pick up 1 more. But it's still an Alchemist flash farm so fast, or flash farm and flash farm. But his Greevil's Greed just makes him being able to get so much gold. And together with a Mag getting overpower or empower, it's just so much damage. And then with the ultimate, the attack speed coming out after an RP is going to be huge for them. So I really like the Alchemist, the early Alchemist pickup here.
The one thing you have to be careful of, though, with an Alchemist is that even though he's a strength hero and his ultimate gives him bonus health, he's still pretty squishy until you get a couple of items. So a lot of people favor going the early Shadow Blade and just using Unstable Concoction, maxing that, going in, trying to get initiation. And it's a really good chunk of burst damage. But if you go for that kind of aggressive style, you also open yourself up to counter initiation. Puck is definitely a fantastic hero to do that. You already have a Rubik on the side of Fnatic who can steal RP. If you're ever out of position and you're forcing an engagement, they can turn it around very, very quickly. So if you're Mousesports, do you want to go for the full farm, or do you want to try to go for a build on the Alchemist that could potentially just overpower the Phantom Lancer in the early game?
It really depends on what Fnatic wants to lane against them. If they want to lane something like if they want to lane an aggressive tri-lane, which we'll most likely not see, with seeing both Rubik and Phantom Lancer most likely going in the safe lane. But if we would see an aggressive tri-lane, he might go for a Shadow Blade instead. But if we know Black right, he's most likely going to go for that Midas if he can get uncontested farm. But then after that, we'll see either a Radiance, a Shadow Blade, or if he wants to go for something like an AC. will be the big question to see what he wants to go for.
Well, time will tell. As we can see, Shadow Demon and Chen now banned out on the side of Fnatic and Mousesports. They're going to go ahead and take out a Nature's Prophet and a Bane. So banning a Bane, that hero still is pretty strong during the mid game. He adds quite a bit of disable. The Enfeeble is actually quite potent at max rank, and it goes through things like BKB. And Alchemist is a hero who, he does build some damage items, but he's mostly just a damage dealer because of the mass attack speed you get from his ultimate. And by attack speed, I mean the base auto attack time is just reduced, so the attack speed is more noticeable on him after the fact. So I kind of see where they're coming from on the side of Mouse. They're removing a couple of heroes with decent burst, and they're just removing heroes that have potential to be very, very aggressive in the early phases. And since Visage is a fantastic tri-laner, that could actually enable Fnatic to run an aggressive tri-lane if they wanted to, because the Lance, Fade Bolt, and just Soul Assumption in itself, Visage is basically compensating for the damage loss that a tri-lane would have that's normally defensive. So they're just going to go ahead and remove that possibility completely, and Bounty Hunter now picked up on the side of Fnatic.
Yeah, so they're going to have two good heroes to roam around with, Puck and Bounty Hunter. Trixie usually plays that Bounty Hunter, loves to roam around a lot and just try and set up as many kills as possible. Then with the Keeper of the Light as the only support right now, a very squishy hero, so easy kills, at least on the Keeper of the Light. Like we said though, Alchemist, he's a bit tankier once he's in his ultimate form, but when he's out of it, it's also quite an easy kill. So they got at least 2 or 3, or I'd say Mag is quite squishy as well. So they got 3 heroes that they can actually pick off with the Bounty Hunter quite easily with the Puck. And then the Rubik being there as well, of course. So good roaming potential. And with the Puck and the Bounty Hunter, they're going to be able to open up the map a lot more to the Phantom Lancer as well to make him farm a lot better.
I'm a bit curious to know where this Bounty Hunter is actually going. I mean, it could potentially be an off lane, but Mousesports pick up a Darkseer, so maybe Fnatic still want to try for an aggressive tri-lane. I mean, Alchemist isn't necessarily known for being the best tri-lane hero either. And in terms of those 2 heroes negating each other, you say, okay, one's a bad laner, the other's a pretty bad laner. Then you have basically support, Keeper of the Light versus a Rubik. I mean, Keeper's going to be able to spam you down a little bit more effectively, but at the same time, you push the lane. So do Fnatic pick up an aggressive support here? Do they want to go for something that has kill potential and just have the Bounty Hunter 1 versus 1 against a Darkseer to ensure experience? Or do you send the Bounty Hunter versus a lane that potentially couldn't kill him in the Alchemist and the Keeper of the Light? Even with sentries, they might be able to zone him out a little bit, but the damage potential from that lane isn't so high to where I think Trixie would feel like he can't get an experience range.
Yeah, I mean, the damage isn't going to be there until Alchemist gets at least level 2 or 3 in Unstable Concoction. And he's probably not going to pick that up, especially if he's going against a solo bounty hunter. He's going to want to max out Grievous Greed instead to be able to farm as much as possible. So Trixie probably won't have any problems whatsoever in that lane if he actually goes up against the most likely defensive tri-lane out of Alchemist. But we're going to see a Lion being picked up as a last pick, so more CC coming out, as well as some good burst with a finger for the Alchemist most likely. As soon as he comes out of ultimate, you got the finger. It's going to burst him down quite heavily.
A Finger of Death at level 1, it's a significantly longer cooldown than Laguna Blade, for example, but the damage output is higher as well. And then at level 16, it's only 40 seconds, which is pretty ridiculous. And unfortunately, you can't actually read the whole tooltip because the overlay's over it. But yeah, at max rank, it basically loses a minute off cooldown. I think it's like 160 seconds to 100 to 40, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So the cooldown goes significantly down, and then you can pretty much pick people whenever you want, especially those supports. Heroes like Keeper of the Light, if you catch him out of position, it's basically an Impale, a Finger of Death, and he's just dead. There's not really much you can do about it. So now Mouse, they're looking for one more. They potentially need one more support. They have the Alchemist and the Keeper, the 2/3 of their probable defensive tri-lane here on their side. And I mean, Lion's already taken. The Bane was banned out by them, and the Shadow Demon is no longer in the pool either. So what kind of support do you think they're looking for here?
I do actually wonder, because most usual supports, the Shadow Demon, the Bane, the Visage, are actually banned out already, but there's probably one I'm forgetting about, but I don't actually know, but something that can just help them out being in the defensive. Because with the Keeper of the Light, you don't want to roam too much either, since you only have the Illuminate, and you got to be able to charge it fully. And we're going to see Vengeful Spirit. That's the last one.
Avenge is a bit interesting. It does give you an extra ability that gives minus armor, and I mean that does help you for things like killing earlier Roshans, gives you a little bit of sight. Venge is a spirit, or Vengeful is a hero, excuse me, who actually can help when you have anybody get locked down by hard disable, for instance, a lion, if you get hexed, if you get impaled, if the puck ults you and you want to get him farther away from the fight and you want to save somebody, that's the hero for the job. So Paz is going to be pretty heavily relied upon here to either save black in some situations, or depending on whatever goes down, you basically sacrifice yourself for the greater good. That's pretty much the job of Vengeful Spirit. Sure, you can offensively swap from time to time, but more often than not, it's like a Shadow Demon type of role, where typically the only good way to use that skill is to save somebody else.
Yeah, it's very important though for the Vengeful to get level 11, because the swap range on level 11 is so huge. The level 6 swap range is just, I mean, you can save someone, but it's not as important as the level 2 swap.
Yeah.
So it's going to be important for Paz to gain levels, but that gives them another kill potential though. The Vengeful Stun does quite some damage, and that will help the Illuminate wave to charge up if it is that Trixie's going up against that. So we might be able to, or we might see some kills going their way, but yeah, time will tell.
We'll go over the players really quick for you guys here. We're taking a look at Fnatic. We're going to have Era playing on that Phantom Lancer, No Tail. Going to be playing on Lion Fly. Going to be taking up the reins on that Rubik. Hani going to be playing on Puck. And of course, that leaves Trixie to play the Bounty Hunter.
Yep, and on the side of Mouse, we got of course Black playing that Alchemist, and he's going to be supported by Alex on the Keeper of the Light. Koikwa moving into the jungle on the Darkseer first to get some levels, and then Paz picking up the Vengeful Spirit. That leaves, of course, Fata playing the Magnus in the mid lane.
So this matchup likely going to be a Puck versus a Magnus. Puck doesn't necessarily have the greatest harass in the world. It's going to be kind of annoying, but it's nothing like a Bat Rider or a Queen of Pain where you walk mid and you basically just don't want to even go to the creep wave because of how much damage you take. So he'll be able to get his bottle relatively quick. So the mid game for Mouse, I'm feeling, is still going to be a bit weaker. Just the pick potential that Fnatic have is a little bit better, and I think they're going to have a bit easier of a time forcing fights. A Puck ultimate is much easier to utilize than getting a reverse polarity off in a good position, especially if you don't get your blink at a decent timing, because then you're relying on either Skewer or Fnatic could just be completely misplaced in these team fights. So, and that, I give Fnatic a little bit of an edge, but of course it's all going to come down to how this laning phase rolls out, what the Alchemist can get done in the early game comparative to the Phantom Lancer, and looks like we're going to have a quick pause out here because Era has disconnected, but I'm sure all is well. And overall, I think the early game is going to be extremely important for both teams, but probably more so Mouse than Fnatic.
Yeah, it feels like it's going to be a very passive early game, though, seeing both the farming heroes on both sides, both Mouse and Fnatic, has gone for Quelling Blade, so they're expecting to not be harassed or anything to start off with, so they're just going to go for full-out farming war, but I'm guessing around 10-minute mark we'll probably see something happen, because we'll have the mid-heroes most likely will be a bit above level 6. We might even see it before, but I don't really see anything happening before at least the mid-heroes hit level 6 when they want to start roaming, unless they get a lucky rune, of course, since it's more protect your carries at this point.
Yeah. Since
both teams have the strong carries that they want to go with.
And the strong carry is really important to keep in mind for Fnatic, because Alchemist is a scaling carry, not necessarily the best hero, but the reason why he can carry in general is his ability to accumulate gold so much faster than any other carry in the game. So that's why I say that the early game is going to be a little bit more important for Mouse, because if that Alchemist doesn't get a fantastic start, then he's going to innately be farther behind the PL. The PL's inventory when he's 6-slotted is much more dangerous than a 6-slotted Alchemist. There's pretty much no other way to spin it. Of course, he will have Empower, but we're not sure if he's going to be forced into buying a BKB or anything like that, which pretty much negates the buff completely. So for Mouse, early game, extremely important. Execution, the mag is going to be pretty heavily relied upon. But for Fnatic, they have a team that can very easily react to ganks. Puck is awesome with mobility. You have a Phantom Lancer who's hard enough to kill just because of the fact that you have to buy sentries and dust for him. And not only that, but you're going to have a Bounty Hunter walking around trying to gank too.
Yeah, so they got 2 reasons to buy sentries and dust, and that's going to make it tough for them, because they can't really get an early gem that much since there's 2 threats as well as the ganking potential.
Speaking of threat, Trixie might be in some trouble here. Second Sentry is dropped. Unstable Concoction is channeling. The Howl is there as well. This is going to be the first blood, and they catch Trixie out completely, just absolutely flanked from the right-hand side of the lane. And we were talking about the lack of kill potential between those 2 heroes, but when you add a second stun into the mix, that Illuminate does a tremendous amount of damage.
especially when he can channel it full like that. Black even dropped the concussion when he wasn't full damage or the full duration, but still, damage was there. So first blood going their way, and that's going to help out Black to be able to get even more free farm. And if he wants to go for that Midas, he's going to have it very fast.
No-Tail being a little bit annoying here, taking away Fata's haste rune. Not only that, but giving him a little bit of harassment too. And that first blood on the board already, it was less than 2 minutes in. And Keeper of the Light was actually the one who secured the first blood right there. But still, assist gold is always going to be nice. And we'll have to see if Black actually wants to go for a straight Midas. We talked a little bit about that before. He does tend to gravitate towards the highest GPM possible to try to get to that late game phase a little bit faster. And Alchemist, he's already put 2 points into that Greevil's Greed, so you know for sure that he's going to be farming here.
Yeah. I'm a bit surprised actually to see that both supports are pulling right now. When Black doesn't actually have a shield, so he can't tank that well, and he's burned through all of his tangos right now, and tower is actually going to start hitting. But he got 1 salve, of course, so he'll be able to heal up. But after that, it doesn't really have any regen since he's haven't had a stout shield to tank up some of the damage.
Well, I suppose if it's absolutely necessary, he can just have his supports pull him the regeneration. And when you're in that lane, I can kind of understand buying a Quelling Blade on Alchemist of all heroes, because missing a CS on him is a much, much bigger impact than missing a CS on any other carry. For example, if you lose that extra gold bonus from Greevil's Greed, it's very, very troublesome. And Quakefin needs to be careful here. Shadow Walk used by Trixie, getting him quite low. He does have level 2 Surge, going to be able to pop that salve and be A-OK for the moment, but Trixie now circling around mid. Managed to steal a handful of creeps too, so Trixie trying to get whatever he can accomplished. And Sentry's picked up once again on Pos, so he does need to be careful. Looks like Alex actually spotted him, but Trixie's going to be safe for the moment.
This is one of the things that Trixie is very, very good at when he's playing, especially Bounty Hunter. When he sees he can't really get anything in the lane, he always tries to rotate as soon as possible, instead of just staying in the lane and trying to get experience and dying once more. He died once, knew that they got the kill potential, and then he just started moving straight away instead.
Definitely a better move than to give away free kills for sure. There's absolutely no doubt about that. Era, in the meantime, he's just farming away bottom. He's already got his Tranquil Boots. He's got his Quelling Blade finished too. We'll see if he wants to go for the drum or what build he decides to opt for. In this case, I would assume it's going to be pretty standard. Midas is finished on Black. He's actually had it done for probably about 10-15 seconds. Just hasn't been delivered yet. So unfortunately, Bruno can't write down the time, I think, until it's in his inventory. So Black going to be a little bit sad about that. But Era not picking up a Glove of Haste, so he's clearly going for the more mid-game centric build.
Yep. He's picked up the Soul Ring recipe, so he's going to try and get that Soul Ring up to be able to spam his nuke out quite a bit. And most likely, like you said, going to see drums coming up after that, and then maybe go into the Diffusal Blade.
Diffusal Blade against the team of Mouse, actually, is quite strong. Especially against heroes when you have Darkseer who can surge away, just having the ability to remove that buff completely, continue to chase. Oh, Coil mid lane, Fata could be in some trouble. Double damage on Hani, and it's just going to be a free kill. One-on-one, no gank necessary. Hani just manages to pick off Fata, and that was a little bit of poor awareness, I have to admit. Typically, when you see somebody go to a rune, the first thing that you do is you check the bottle to make sure you know what rune he has, and if he can kill you with it. And Hani pretty much just flat out destroyed him right there.
Yeah. An easy kill for Honey, hitting level 6 before Fata did as well, since Fata's only level 5 now and Honey's actually level 7. And that's a good thing with Coil, the range on it, as well as, like you were saying in teamfights, you don't actually have to hit it on everybody. Just putting it in there, forcing fights, is so good, but overall, good kill for Honey. It's going to help him get his Blink Dagger up faster if he wants to rush that.
And top lane, Black continues his farm. He's 3 points now into Greevil's Greed, had that Midas done. And he's actually completely tied in last hits with Era at the moment. Era and Black both sitting at 41 respectively. And the Darkseer is actually farming very well too. Of course, those are jungle creeps, but there's the difference right there in Greevil's Greed. 500 gold per minute as opposed to just 380. And of course, 380 at 6 minutes is pretty fantastic, but 500 at 6 minutes, of course, because of that Midas and because of the passive, is a little ridiculous.
Yeah. And if he can keep on farming like this, I wouldn't actually be surprised to maybe see a Radiance. Radiance could be very good for them, just stopping just having the Radiance burn against the puck, that goes
Trixie
for
needs to be a little bit careful here. It might be in some trouble. They do have another sentry drop. The unstable concoction will go off. Paz taking some tower shots. Alex in trouble as well. Hani going to go for the kill. He drops the coil. It does manage to hit Black. Quakefa, though, going to be able to vacuum in. Has the Ion Shell activated. Can he actually get Hani down? He will be able to do so. So 1-for-1 exchange. Hani forfeits his life for a support. I mean, getting the Keeper of the Light's definitely nice. Paz now taking some tower shots as well. Trixie in the back lines looking like he wanted to try to do something, but unfortunately not going to be able to pursue. So Hani just a very, very aggressive play right there. Not sure if that was worth it.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. They were 4 versus, what was it, 2 before No Tail actually came up there. So
Yeah.
Hani playing very aggressive and didn't have the vision in there and just lost his life for it. So overall, good play by Mouse. Black didn't go down, and now he's finished off his power threats as well with that Midas, of course. 4 levels into Grievel's Greed, and his farm is gonna skyrocket right now if they don't come up here and gank him.
I really want to know if he is going to go for that Shadow Blade. Does he want to just go for the full farm build, go for maybe a Mjolnir, or just a Maelstrom and it's something else, like maybe a full Assault Cuirass? And by the way, I think you guys can actually stop voting, as it looks like Radiance is the item of choice here from the chat, Bruno. They're thinking Radiance Burn might be pretty good here.
Yep. Oh, cool. Yeah, pretty much because you're having so much safe farm and you really want to skyrocket and get all full inventory pretty much at 20-25 minutes, and he's doing so well that if he decides to get a Radiance, he can really farm the jungle really fast. Look at the stacks. If he can steal those stacks eventually, he'll be able to make lots of money and get...
That's like a Rambo steal, man. You're stealing from the large camp near the tier 2, halfway across the map.
You don't care, you're an alchemist, you have a Radiance, look at that.
Alex actually taking quite a bit of damage here bottom. Gonna get soloed by Era, so completely tower dove. No reaction coming out on the side of Mouse. So another kill just happens, and there's not really much that Mouse does about it. So a little bit unfortunate, by the way. Another coil mid. Fata gonna be in some trouble here. Hani with a haster and manages to pick off Fata again. Fly actually gets the kill. Managed to steal a level 3 shockwave in the meantime, so he's got the double nuke now. Of course, he is level 6 because he has that spell steal. Trixie getting very close to level 6 himself. Once he gets that, I think we're going to start seeing a lot more movement out of Fnatic.
Yep. I do hope that Black actually goes for that Shadow Blade, even though they have track on the side of Fnatic. Going for the Shadow Blade and trying to go for a timing together with a mag could be very crucial against the Phantom Lancer. Just shutting him down, having the Shadow Blade moving in and then getting an RP and just hitting people in that RP could be very, very good for them. But yeah, he's saving up money right now. He's up to almost 2k gold, so we'll have to see what he wants to try and go for.
I'm really a little bit concerned for Fata more than anything else at the moment. He's died twice, basically, in solo engagements, even though Fly actually got the kill in the middle lane the second time he died. He would have died regardless because Hani had a haste. So when you're dying to the solo puck multiple times, that's really, really not so good for the team. Paz, in the meantime, going to be able to throw a stun out. Oh, he drops the sentry, but the stun was in midair, so it doesn't actually land. Trixie going to still eat an unstable concoction, but the sentry, of course, is in tower range, so it will eventually be hit down. And Trixie does not have mana for another Shadow Walk, unless he has wand charges, which he does not. So if they manage to somehow get in range, then he's going to be in some trouble. And in the meantime, middle, Fata dies again, so that is the 3rd death that Fata has had right now. He is accounting for more than half of his team's deaths. The roaming from Fnatic is starting to pick up a little bit. Of course, we talked about how the first 2 deaths were pretty much just all Hani. But now Fnatic have started to move. Trixie hits level 6. He's going back to base right now. But you can already see that Fnatic want to fight. They have that coil. They're looking at Black right now. But can they actually get anyone else here? There's no vision right now either. At least in that particular area around the top rune spot for Mouse. They do have vision near the lane. Oh, Paz going to walk right into his silence. There's a double coil. Can Hani actually dodge a stun? No, he uses his phase shift a little bit too early. He's going to eat the full unstable concoction. Can they actually follow this up? There's the magic missile. Should be a free kill here for Black. In the meantime, Vengeful Spirit does die. No! Hani's going to live through it. He pops the bottle, but it's not quite enough. Fata picks him up with a shockwave. Now, pops reverse polarity on No Tail. He's trying to run away, but the unstable concoction will get the kill. Trixie now going to be forced to Shadow Walk once again and run away. Black is still tracked if he wants to try to man up here. He does have level 3 Shuriken toss. Depends on how much health that Alchemist actually had left, which looks like to be a little bit too much for Trixie to risk it, but he is kind of hovering around the area. Man, that was a really, really close call. I actually thought for a second that Hani might have gotten away there.
Yeah, he used his orb aggressively to start off with, and then he got caught, but the nuke damage was just there from them to be able to kill off. I believe Paz was died first, but overall a really good engagement for Mouse since they managed to get a kill on Black, or maybe even 2 kills on Black. But still, 1 or 2 kills on Black, and it was a support, or 2 supports for a mid as well as a support, which is really good for them. And the Shadow Blade is going to be the pickup for Black, so hopefully we'll see some movement around this and not going back to farming, but that looks like the decision since he's moving down to bottom lane straight away.
His damage output's actually going to be fairly scary, especially considering he went for a Midas, Treads, and a Shadow Blade. That's a lot of attack speed. So the fact that he's going to have his ultimate reduce his base auto attack speed anyway, and then all that attack speed from those 3 items on top of that, he's going to pop the Unstable Concoction. Ion Shell's already activated. Can he actually get in range of Era? That's going to be the biggest thing. He's not going to be able to do so, and actually just stuns himself, so that's a little bit unfortunate. Era not going to be able to walk away. They did give him sentries too, so they really, really want to try to kill Era here. Alex is going to eat a lance in the face. And man, that is just so much damage to supports. I mean, 1 lance, half health.
Lance is just so annoying, and especially if he goes for a Soul Ring so he can spam it all the time. Since he doesn't have the Cuddle on his team, we'll just go for a Soul Ring instead so he can spam it. But Concoction actually stolen by Rubik right now, and it's level 4, so it does a lot of damage if he can channel the full one. And we'll have to see if Mouse wants, or if Fnatic wants to go for a tower defense hit right here.
Trixie was looking for the Courier Snipe. He's only level 1 Janata though, so I'm not sure if he would be able to get it. TP reaction coming in from the side of Fnatic. Looks like they want to try to take this. Black actually going to be caught out by a stolen Unstable Concoction. There's absolutely no help. Fata with a late reaction. They don't help Black at all. He just gets picked off completely, and there's going to be a little bit of cleanup coming out of Trixie. That was a track kill too. Pos going to eat a lance on the backside. Something else was stolen. Not sure what it is just yet from the Rubik, but they are going to continue to pursue. Hani does have Coil. He's probably not going to have to use it on the Darkseer. Just absolutely disintegrated by the damage. No Tail receives the kill, and Fnatic, they just get 3 heroes for basically nothing.
Yeah, and they want more even, so they might go for a push here, but looks like most people are actually backing out here. But that was a bit weird to see that they just kind of left Black there and didn't really care that he got picked off, which is kind of bad since Fata's so far behind in the farm already. Leaving your carry for death there is gonna be, it's not the smartest decision since you don't really have farm on any other hero except for Darkseer, who actually got his mechanism as well as a Soul Ring. But yeah, a bit weird, but in the end, very good for Fnatic.
Especially since Black, not only did he die, but he wasted so much time. He went back to base, pretty much. He walked all the way bottom. He looked for a fight. And then immediately after, he just dies as soon as the engagement starts. So he's looking to try to pressure the tier 1 top here, or I guess just back up. Maybe he's just a little bit gun-shy after what happened last time. But Era, he's sitting at 104 CS. The goal per minute is actually starting to close. It's 517 comparative to just under 500 for Era. He's sitting at 450, so he's getting very close to his Diffusal Blade. He's actually only about 500 away. Once he gets that, I think Fnatic are going to be perfectly content to just keep fighting. The Alchemist, sure, he can do a reasonable amount of damage with the Concoction, with the attack speed items that he's made, and of course the Shadow Blade damage, but the Phantom Lancer can just kill supports. Like 1 lance and a Diffusal Blade charge, and he can kill Alex, or he can kill Pos. That's really all it takes.
Yeah, without a Blink Dagger on Fata, they can't really get a good setup for
Hani going in middle, pops the coil, gonna hit 2 with the silence as well. Fata actually skewers him back, but not gonna pop the reverse polarity. Hani gonna eat a magic missile, but it's not gonna be enough to kill him. Fata now gonna be in some trouble. No Tail waiting on the Hex, actually changes targets to Pos. The Fade Bolt and the Orb are both there, and that's gonna be another kill for Hani. So he picks up the double, and Fnatic, they're just starting to really outplay Mouse all over the map.
Like I was pointing out, with the Blink Dagger not being up on Fata yet, it's going to be hard for him to be able to get in with Black and actually fight. I mean, Mouse or Fnatic can just spread out so well because it's quite easy to see when the skewer comes in. So it's quite an easy spell to dodge. And especially when he only got level 2 skewer right now, he's soon going to hit level 9 though and get level 3 skewer. But it's still going to be hard for Mouse to just get in and fight. And if they had a Phantom Lancer, he's going to be able to spam the lances all the time with the Soul Ring.
It's going to be an uphill battle right now for Mouse. We talked about how important the early game is, and speaking of, Fata probably going to get picked off again. Oh, the RP completely whiffs! He actually phase shifted and jaunted at the same time. Is he going to be able to get in to get the kill? No Tail is actually tower diving. No one from the side of Mouse is TPing to this at all. Looks like it might just be a free kill. No, he phase shifts. He does have his Blink Dagger up. There we go. The Waning Rift after the Blink Dagger to the low ground. Hani picks up yet another kill. I gotta say, that's like the 4th or 5th time that Hani has killed Fata this game solo. That simply cannot happen.
No, especially not when Fata knows he's low HP and he can see Hani coming in with full HP or a rune that it was before, and he stays anyways. He thinks that he's not going to go for it, which is a big mistake, and we're actually going to see some action top right now.
Unstable Concoction starting to get channeled. There's the Waning Rift. Black not even going to get a chance to throw out a stun. Pos now coiled in place. He's going to be the next one to drop here. Sentry was put down in the lane, but it just simply doesn't matter. That's another kill coming out on the side of Fnatic. I mean, this is very, very quickly getting out of hand. They get the deny on the tier 1. A lot of these kills are track gold kills. Era has been left completely alone. Quakefa's actually going to be forced to teleport out here. Takes quite a bit of damage. And Era's got the Yasha, the Diffusal Blade, 900 gold, his Tranquils, and the Soul Ring at just 17 minutes in. He's probably going to pull ahead of Black's farm soon.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see, though. Black's still keeping up with the gold per minute, but that's just because of his Midas as well as the Grievous speed. It's not because he's actually last hitting that much, because Era is farming a lot more than Black is doing right now, as well as Black has been able to get killed. So right now it's looking very, very good for Fnatic. They got a good lead, and they can pretty much start 5-manning quite soon, because Mouse doesn't really have anything to stop them.
Yeah, I mean, they do in theory. They have the reverse polarity. They have the Keeper of the Light to spam out the waves. And they have a Darkseer. Their AoE teamfight is not bad, but they just have yet to be able to coordinate it. It's like Fnatic are just catching them in these awkward positions. What it really feels like to me is they're not respecting the range of the puck. How many times have we seen people just get picked off in the back or just die one-on-one if you're Fata because of the fact that you just don't realize how far a puck can get to you with a Blink Dagger. So... oh man, Alex might be in some trouble here under the tower. Throws a Shuriken. He's actually going to get skewered. Trixie might be in some trouble himself now. The Eliminate is going to go off. In the meantime, Fly does manage to steal the kill right there with a Wild Fade Bolt. Trixie pays with his life, but honestly, not such a big deal. Darkseer also getting quite low here in the bottom lane. He's going to drop to Era and Hani, and this tier 2 is also going to be forfeit in the process. Now back to the middle lane. Mag is actually quite low at the moment. Pos going to get Telekinesis back. Fata manages to bottle up. 2 more auto attacks. No, the Wand Charge might actually save him. And Pos narrowly escapes death. No, never mind. Here comes a Wild Orb coming out from Hani, and this might be a double kill. Fata trying to juke around the trees. He actually skewers forward, trying to go for a kill. He just barely missed it. Fly with another Wand Charge, or excuse me, a different one. But still going to save yet another life for the moment. And Fnatic, man, they are just catching people out of position. Look at the health on Era right now and Fly. They have no health. Neither of them have any HP.
Yeah, and their supports are so farm right now. Both No-Tail as well as Fly picked up a Blink Dagger at the same time, and it's 19 minutes in on 2 supports.
Yeah.
That was pulling only, pretty much. But now they've been getting so many track kills. I mean, Fly is 4, 0, and 8. As well as No-Tail's 3, 1, and 3. So they've been getting a lot on those supports, and having Blink Dagger on the Rubik, that's going to be devastating, especially since he has it before Fata has it on his mag. He can just stay back, wait for Fata to skewer in, try and get an RP, instantly steal it, blink and RP, and just counter RP a lot better than Fata can get his RP out right now.
And not only does Fata not have his blink, he doesn't even have Arcane Boots. I mean, we talked about how the Puck versus Mag matchup actually really isn't that hard for the Mag. He basically only needs to hit 5, and then he can just Shockwave spam and continue to get gold. But it all kind of snowballed out of control as soon as that first double damage rune was picked up by Hani. Maybe he just didn't check his inventory. Maybe he didn't realize how much damage he would take from the combo. But after that one death, and speaking of, actually Trixie is going to be dying here. Solo to Black in the top lane, so that's definitely going to help. And Black has started to pick up his farm again, but we're going to see a dive mid as Pos and Keeper of the Light are actually both quite low. Hani going to get the first kill, and he actually has a Dagon too, so that's going to be another double for him. Takes out both supports. Quakefa getting mana drain at the moment. No-Tail trying to retreat. He does have his blink off cooldown if he needs to. And Hani is just... he's killing everybody, man. I mean, he's picked up a 2nd rank of his Dagon. That's how confident Fnatic are right now. Level 2 Dagon.
Yeah, he just wants to keep that burst high, since it's not too long into the game. Just keep the burst high so he can nuke whoever he wants at any point in the game right now, since they're quite underfarmed. Black actually moving in with his Shadow Blade and Concoction right now.
Is he going to catch No-Tail? He will be able to kill him pretty much instantly. Yeah, there was no living through that. It's quite a bit of damage. It's no living through that, Mike. Not a chance.
And he picks up his Radiance out of that.
I'm a little bit surprised he decided to go for a Radiance. I thought maybe an Abyssal Blade, because it's 21 minutes in. Are you really going to try to fall back on just pure farming when you've lost the early game pretty much this hard? I mean, do you really think that's the right call, or do you think it might have been better to go for something else? I mean, I get
Sure.
that he wants to get really high GPM, and he's still the highest in the game. So, I mean, he's still farming extremely well. But in this circumstance, do you make an item that basically says, maybe I don't want to fight, even though the other team has a puck with a blink and 2 supports with blinks and a bounty hunter? Because they want to fight. That's just my opinion.
Fata picked up his blink dagger right now, though, so
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
he'll be able to get some good RPs out anyways.
I might catch your back, Bruno, don't worry. And yeah, the blink dagger picked up is a pretty big deal. Mouse popping a smoke, potentially looking for some kind of kills. But I mean, this is just a desperation maneuver. They don't have any vision at all, basically. The only vision they have is the ward basically near mid in the river. Black's actually going to get summoned down too, but he was tracked. So now they basically know that they're smoked because they just pulled him in. So this smoke is basically going to be completely wasted. They might be able to push the tier 2, but in the meantime, Fnatic are actually going to be able to push into the tier 1 themselves.
Yeah, and they should be able to get this tier 1 quite fast and even defend bottom if they want to, unless they want to trade the tier 2 mid, as we actually see some pings coming out from Notel and Era. So they might want to try and go for a trade instead.
Well, obviously trading a tier 2 for a tier 1 is going to be beneficial towards the side of Miles, but Era's also pushing the tier 2 mid at the same time. And a Phantom Lancer pushes pretty darn fast, even at this stage in the game. There is eventually going to be some TP reaction. Miles makes their way back towards the middle lane, or at least Black does. And he's already up to another 2,500 gold, so this is just an ode to Alchemist. I mean, this is what this hero does. He absorbs insane amounts of farm in a very, very short amount of time. So if he manages to get up something else, maybe a BKB, maybe an Assault Cuirass, whatever item he wants to go for, he'll pretty much be a terror. But I really think he needs a BKB here because of how much Disable Fnatic have. They have the Hex, they have the Impale, they have Telekinesis, they have the Silence, and they have Coil. There's just so much that he has to worry about. He's going to pick up the Plate Mail for the extra armor at the moment. He could still go for a BKB if he wanted to. He could also finish up the Assault Cuirass, but I think it would be really easy for them to isolate him in fights, especially with that Lion having his ultimate up and just the sheer burst damage that they have.
Yeah, that's kind of the only target they actually have to isolate is Black, so it's quite easy for them to just go for him because the mag, of course, the RP is going to be a big deal, but having the blink dagger up on fly, they can just have him in the background instead, be ready to steal the RP and counter initiate with that. So just No-Tail's full CC is most likely going to go on Black, and then they're going to focus fully on him because, yeah, they don't really have anyone else to target on the side of Mouse right now because Black is the one they have to fall back on.
Invisibility.
Redundant runes picked up here by Bounty Hunter. Don't think he necessarily needed an Invis rune, but he's going to take it regardless. Making his way back towards middle. And I don't think Fnatic have any real issue delaying this game, especially considering you know that the Alchemist that you're playing against went for a Shadow Blade. And I mean, the item is definitely very potent in the mid game, but they're not really forcing the issue. Black is still kind of just farming. They're going to be able to catch out Trixie. Very, very long range skewer, and that's going to be a free kill for Mouse. So very, very nicely done there by Fata. He does still have his haste rune. Are they going to be able to get fly in the process? Telekinesis goes off onto Fata. Here comes Black, but he gets Telekinesis stunned and impaled. He's actually going to end up stunning himself, but Fly still going to be dying. Oh, there we go. Unstable Concoction does eventually leave Black, but not enough to get the kill, as Keeper of the Light is actually the one to secure it. Mecha's popped, and Mouse are walking down mid right now. They actually managed to pick off 2 in a row. Hani sitting up here on the high ground, going to spout out Quigfa. Immediate phase shift. Going to go ahead and jump to the orb and just retreat back to base. Fata went for the blink. Not going to be able to get it. There's the Impale, the Finger of Death, and a Dagon! Good lord, man, that burst damage. Hani currently on the godlike streak. The tier 2 will die, though. So tier 2 tower for Mouse, and Fnatic. I mean, they lost a couple of heroes there, but they do manage to kill Fata at the very least.
Yeah. But right now, though, Mouse show that they can actually fight, and they're quite strong when they fight. Especially if they can just get a really good RP initiation, followed up with a concoction, and then Black just standing there hitting with the Empower. That's going to do a lot of damage to Mouse, but they got to get that good initiation, though, and it's pretty much like a perfect initiation that they got to get. But right now, the Reaver actually picked up on Era, so he's going to be able to tank up a bit on this Phantom Lancer, and he's very close to finishing off his heart as well. So it's going to be very hard for them to kill him off.
Black, in the meantime, picks up his Assault Cuirass, or at least he'll have it very, very soon. I think the courier is actually delivering it to him as we speak, so he's now got that pretty much finished. And at this point, the Alchemist is actually starting to become a pretty significant threat. It's only 26 minutes in. He has a Radiance, a Shadow Blade, an Assault Cuirass, Midas, and Treads. That's insane. I mean, that's a lot of farm. And you can see his PPM is still pretty much the highest. And the gold difference is actually starting to go down quite a bit, given the last couple of fights. A lot of that, of course, is due to the fact that no one is actually really farming, except for the 2 carries, the Darkseer and the Puck. Those are pretty much the only heroes on either side who are getting any CS to speak of. So the more CS you get on the side of Mouse, the farther ahead you're going to pull in terms of gold difference, just because of Greevil's greed in itself. And they've actually managed to take more towers up until this point than Fnatic have. So to Mouse's credit, that's really, really good. But my concern is that they really haven't done enough to secure the game, and they're against the Phantom Lancer. And we talked about how that hero 6-slotted, very, very tough to deal with.
Even though the Alchemist can do quite a lot of damage, especially with the Empower on, and if you can get the setup of an RP like we've been talking about, Peel is still so very strong in the late game once it comes to that. But I'm a bit surprised to see that Fnatic is actually falling back on the Peel more, and Mouse is actually starting to go on the aggression. They're going to go and take the last tower right now, and if they want to, they can try and force some fights, because they are quite strong. Even though their supports are under-farmed, if they can get some good initiation going, their team fight potential is just very, very strong. So, like I said, I'm a bit surprised to see that Fnatic isn't playing more aggressive, and that Hani's still upgrading his Dagon.
Oh, they're going to catch Fatov in the bottom lane. No tail, popping that finger as soon as it comes off cooldown. Flying manages to steal himself level 2 in power. Not necessarily the greatest thing in the world to steal. Black retreating currently from Hani. And Trixie's going to find him. Pops a track. This should be a kill right here. There's the Shuriken toss, excuse me. And yep, there's the blink and the waning rift. So that Dagon upgrade definitely paying off. It's level 4 now. So it does 700 damage, which is pretty ridiculous. Actually does more than level 1 finger at this point. So each of those heroes have their own ultimates. Actually got level 2 finger now because they killed Fata bottom, so now he's level 11. Which means it does barely more than a Dagon 4. Just barely.
But it's still kind of risky. I mean, if they take one bad fight, Mouse is going to be able to get quite a lot out of it. Since they've already pushed all the towers, they might be able to go down mid, since all of the heroes are so farmed on Fnatic. Their respawn time is going to be quite a lot. Since they're still picking up items, they might not even have a buyback.
It is a little bit dangerous at the moment for the side of Fnatic. They need to be very careful about how they pursue this. But Era has a heart, so he's not really too scared of the tower at the very least. And I mean, look at how much Mouse has to commit in terms of spam to just push him out of the base. There were 2 heroes that got taken from 100% to about 40, and that was with the Keeper of the Light spamming Illuminate and trying to push everything back. So it's only going to get more out of hand from this point, I think, for Mouse. And since Black is off the map for some time, that's a Dagon 5, by the way. That's a Dagon 5 puck with a gem. So his burst damage, he's going to be able to instantly kill any support of the map.
Yeah. And it's going to be very good to bring down Black once he's out of his Shadow Blade, or he even got the gem.
Oh,
so.
Pass. Oh, it's not a happy day, but he actually gets a reverse polarity from his teammate Fata. They're going to catch Air out here. Nice 3-man Impale, though, coming out. Is it going to be enough to save Air, though? He's still taking some damage. Pass is actually going to be the first one to fall. Black cannot find Air at the moment. Skewer through the woods. Air just going to run away here for free. Fly with that unstable concoction. Throws it out onto Fata, but 2 hits, and Black manages to take out Fly. Air now jumping onto Fata. There's a Dagon 5 in the face, courtesy of Hani. Double Quill going to hit 2 on the backside, and Alex actually dropping quite low himself. Breaks the tether, but Hani is actually forced to retreat. Era drops in the crossfire. Trixie running right past the sentry. He's going to be forced back towards, I guess, his opponent's base, but at the very least, Mouse don't see him at the moment, so that's really nice. And like you were saying, man, one quick team fight, and suddenly Mouse looked to be alive here.
Yeah, that Earth Spike was so big from No-Tail, though, stopping that Era could survive a bit longer, managing to get the kill on pause. But if No-Tail actually wasn't there, that would have been a free kill on Era. But now they managed to get some out of it. But they still forced a buyback, so he can go back to farming a bit and maybe put some pressure. But like I was saying with the Dagon 5, though, the burst is for sure going to be there to kill off Black once he's out of his ultimate. Not his Shadow Blade, like I was saying, but once he's out of his ultimate, it's going to be quite good. But if it's not enough, then he's quite tanky.
Yeah. I'm just surprised that they managed to do enough damage to Era to actually bring him down. I guess with an Empowered Alchemist who hasn't bought a BKB yet, his damage output is pretty insane. Hits for 200, and he's got level 3 Chemical Rage, so his attack speed is going to be pretty tremendous. I'm curious to know what his next item choice is actually going to be. At the moment, he has got a casual cloak in his inventory. I don't think he is going to be making it into a pipe. That just seems a little bit silly. But then again, I guess you're up against a Dagon 5 and a level 2 Finger of Death Lion. Maybe he wants to just get more magical resistance instead of actually going for the BKB, because if you get a BKB and you pop it, you're basically just saying your supports are going to die, because they're going to have to use it on them instead of the Alchemist himself. Black, going to stun himself again here, tries to actually dodge it with the Chemical Rage, but going to be unsuccessful in doing so. So it's 32 minutes in, it's 26-11, the net worth still showing that Black is the highest farmer in the game, and the difference between the Puck and the Darkseer is about the same as the difference between the Phantom Lancer and the Alchemist. So the gold, for the most part, actually pretty even between these two teams. The big deciding factor that has been for the most part of the game is the experience. At some point, it was, yeah, over 15,000 now in favor of Fnatic, and that's just because the skirmishes and the team fights have been going their way.
Yeah, the supports have been able to survive on the side of Fnatic, so No Tail, level 12 on the Lion, as well as level 13 on Fly on his Rubik. So the supports on the side of Fnatic is getting a lot. But it's very interesting to see right now, because both teams, they push pretty much every tower, except for Fnatic hasn't pushed the last tier 2 tower of Mouse. And they're kind of just falling back to farming right now, so most likely gonna be one big fight that's gonna decide it.
Yeah.
That's at least how I feel it right now.
This is one of the dangers, too, in letting your strategy go to a later stage in the game. Sure, Phantom Lancer, on paper, will be able to out-carry Mouse's team. There's pretty much no disputing that. But in actuality, if they lose a fight at 40 to 45 minutes and Mouse get a Roshan for free, which seems like is going to be the case right now, the Alchemist can kill your base ridiculously quick. Black actually got rid of his Midas. We'll see what item is going to be on the way for him at the moment. The Courier is right about there. So he's going to be working his way towards that Abyssal Blade, which I think is definitely the right choice. Gives him a little bit extra damage output. Fnatic trying to push the tier 2 in the meantime to compensate for the fact that they just lost Roshan, but I don't think they can actually kill this, as the rest of Mouse are starting to rotate towards that tier 2 to defend. But the Aegis stuff on Black is a really, really big deal. That could be the one opening they need to really get back in this game.
He actually got his Midas still on his Courier, but I wonder if he's going to use it more, or if he'll sell it off. He actually left the cloak there as well, so he didn't sell anything, but Alex denying the top tier 2 tower, and they're on even ground pretty much right now, and it's just gonna come down to some big fights. And as we saw there, the buyback status, no one actually has buyback except for 2 supports in this game. But
Yeah.
Mouse got the Aegis.
We'll see how much Mouse want to pressure this. They definitely have the advantage in terms of the next team fight, just because of how farmed Black is starting to get. Sure, the Phantom Lancer is always going to be a pretty big threat, but they showed the fact that they can actually burst down Era. I mean, he didn't die at the beginning of the fight, but the fact they were able to kill him in general. Killing a PL is a pretty hard task, especially when somebody like No Tail blinks in and gets a 3-man impale on your team when you're trying to kill him, and that's a really cool spell to steal, by the way. Stealing Chemical Rage gives you so much health. Look at how much health that Rubik has. 1,800 HP. And the regeneration, the ability to spam, pretty insane. Black actually going to be stunned inside of Fnatic's base, but Fnatic just don't really seem to be interested in fighting. And the Dagon 5 barely dents his HP. He will eventually back off, but that regen is going to eventually bring him back to full.
Yeah, and that's the question, was the Dagon 5 actually a needed pickup for him? Since I believe it's almost over 8,000 gold to fill off that full Dagon 5, or to build a full one, so that could have been a full sheepstick, or just other items that would have been really good to have, but we'll have to see. It might pay off in the end.
I mean, he did get quite a few kills with it. Not necessarily advocating upgrading your Dagon to level 5 as a hero who could potentially get a Hex, like you were saying, but I think it served some purpose, especially even killing a support at this phase, like killing Pos or killing Alex is still a pretty big deal, or just having the extra burst to pop the mag before he gets an RP off. The damage potential is still pretty good. So in terms of isolating heroes, I still think it's an okay choice. But I kind of agree that a Hex, as the game goes a little bit later, is more valuable than just having a bit more burst. Getting that instant disable in can be the make or break in some situations. So we'll see how things end up working out. But Fnatic, yeah, 7,980 gold, so you're pretty much spot on there. Just about 8,000, right under, give or take. But he's still got 2,700 gold saved up too, so his next item has yet to be seen. And I'm thinking it could potentially just be that Hex you were talking about.
Yeah, would be quite good to have. If they can manage to catch out Black before he gets his ultimate out, he's going to die quite quick, and then the Dagon 5 is for sure going to pay off. But we'll have to see. Once he gets that item, of course, he's still quite far
Black
away from a sheep.
going for a kill here on Trixie in the top lane. Can he actually burst him down fast enough? He doesn't have his chemical rage pretty popped. Trixie taking quite a bit of damage. Is he going to go down? He actually tracks and will get picked. So the Alchemist starting to be a little bit scary here. The rest of Mouse is currently sitting in the middle lane waiting. Oh, the Finger of Death goes off there. RP actually manages to fly. No Tail both stuck inside. Counter initiation coming out from Hani. And Dragon 5. The RP gets stolen and hits 4. The RP a little bit better from Fly, unfortunately, than Fata. Quick, but trying to run away, but he's going to be unsuccessful. That's going to be another kill for Hani. Has that double damage popped. Alex going to be telekinesed by Fly. And this should be pretty much a free kill. Fly with that chemical rage attacking so fast. And in the meantime, Era also manages to kill Paz. So, just as we were saying, there was possibly a light at the end of the tunnel there for Mouse. Fnatic kind of just shut it right there.
Yeah, that RP was huge from Fly. Just stealing that, what was it, a 4-man RP, I believe?
Yeah,
since
it was 4.
Since Black was still in the base trying to push out Era. Era instantly TP's back and comes to the fight instead. So, in the end, I believe it was actually a 3-4, or it might have been a 4-for-1 since Trixie died on the other lane, but overall, a very good fight for Fnatic, and they should be able to go for this tower in mid, which actually said that the last tower was up in top, but they might be able to get this last tower now.
No Tail going to go ahead and hex Black. Kind of playing with fire here, though. Black pretty scary when it comes to damage potential, but he's going to get dagged right here. Here comes Fata, though, going to be able to skewer Era into the tower, but that's going to be an Aegis popped. Oh, nice Manta dodge on the stun by Era. He does get hexed by Quake, but though, do they have the damage to bring him down? There's the vacuum. Black actually going to be hexed himself. Another nice Impale coming out of No Tail. Pos taking quite a bit of damage. Quake going to be forced back, and I think both teams are just going to go ahead and retreat. No deaths yet. Black, of course, did lose his Aegis. Blink away right there from Fly. And yeah, I don't think Fnatic want to try to fight this anymore.
Yeah, Black is getting very close to his Abyssal right now. If he wants to finish off right now, if he wants to finish that off, of course. But RP up now for Mouse, and they might want to try and go for something like a last push in mid, because they're feeling right now that they're just falling behind too much. And if they're going to keep losing fights like that, there's no way they're going to win. So they kind of got to go for a last push effort. Might wait for the last Roche, or for another Roche, of course. But we'll have to see what they want to do.
And Trixie managed to snipe the courier right there in middle lane. And plus, Fly still has RP for another minute and a half or so, maybe closer to 2. The Aegis was going to be fading at around this time anyway, so it's no real skin off Mouse's nose that Black lost it in the last altercation. Better that he die and not actually, you know, die because he has an Aegis than somebody else getting picked, because then they would have potentially been able to take that last Adder 2 tower that we were talking about. But Era, he's got his Butterfly, the Manta, the level 2 Diffusal Blade, and a Heart. So Era's really not going to get that much more farmed. He can go for an MKB, he can go for a crit, depending on what he really wants to do in terms of damage output. He can go for a second Heart. I've seen Phantom Lancers do that in the past just to make your illusions that much more tanky. But the decision has yet to be made. I think going for a damage item would probably be good for him, just to give a real way to actually kill Black when he's in his ultimate. Because those Phantom Lancer illusions, especially if you yourself have something like an MKB or a crit, you can do a reasonable amount of damage to him. Black picks up a full BKB here, just at the base. He just casually walks in. He's like, yeah, 3,900 gold, no big deal. I'm Alchemist, it's fine. Still has yet to finish his Abyssal Blade, but that's going to be his last item. His inventory is full after that.
And like you said, when the Abyssal Blade is up, he'll be full on his inventory. But I wouldn't actually be surprised, or I would like to see him to sell the Shadow Blade and go for an MKB instead, to be able to bring down the Phantom Lancer, so he can actually hit the Phantom Lancer. Because right now, he pretty much got to hit everything else and hope that the Empower brings him down. I mean, the Abyssal Blade, of course, is going to proc, and he's going to hit through the Butterfly a few times, but it's still quite a big risk to just stand and hit someone with a Butterfly, especially when he got a Heart as well. So MKB wouldn't be bad if he wants to sell his Shadow Blade, but he should finish off his Abyssal Blade as well, though.
And talking about items, Hani's item choice is actually going to be a Lincoln Sphere. So maybe he's just scared of getting Magic Missile, Unstable Concoction, Mana Leak. It's pretty much the only spells. I guess a Hex, too. On the Koikva, he actually has a Scythe finish, so a couple of decent things to block here. And I guess that's an ideal situation to buy Lincolns when you know that there are only 2 single-target spells. Looks like a Spite Finger right there coming out of the Lion. As No Tail is going to go ahead and retreat, but he's going to run actually right in to No Tail, and Quake's going to be there as well. It's a nice 2-man RP. Hani actually manages to dodge it. Not sure if that was intentional or not, but it's going to be a quick death on Lion. Now Trixie's going to be in some trouble. There's another sentry drop. That's going to be a double kill for Black, and all of a sudden Fnatic looking to be like they're in a little bit of trouble here. Era does manage to push a tier 2 in the meantime, so Black going to be forced out. But remember, they have that Keeper of the Light, so if they want to try to actually pressure a lane, they can just summon Black right back whenever they need to.
Yeah, it feels like they should try and go for something like a pressure right now. Maybe wait out the Roche. Should be up quite soon. And they should be able to go for the Aegis and then go for a push instead. But they kind of got to make something happen. I mean, they got a double kill. They managed to kill off the Bounty Hunter, as well as the Lion, of course, without actually losing anyone. So they should try and look to get something out of this.
And this game has been a lot closer than even I had expected, just given at 42 minutes, you typically expect a team with a Phantom Lancer to be slow sieging, whittling down the tier 3s, just overall being too much for Mouse to handle at this point. But that Empower Alchemist combo is working wonders in terms of being able to counter push. The Acid Spray definitely helps too. You get minus armor from that, you get minus armor from the Assault Cuirass, and then you get even more minus armor from the Howl coming out of Pos. So the potential to actually focus down that agility hero is quite high. It looks like you are going to see your Monkey King bar here, and that's going to be the next damage item that he picks up. So his damage output going to be pretty ridiculous, and attack speed with the MKB mini stun proc is going to be pretty good.
Yep, and if you can get a good RP setup, that's going to hurt quite a bit. We can see how fast he actually brings down everything.
Oh, he could be in some trouble here, though. Black actually going to get bursted down. He has his BKB, but he just decided not to use it. He's going to go ahead and buy back, save the charges. One of the perks of being Alchemist is you just kind of have money to casually throw at a buyback if you need to. But now, it makes it really difficult for Mouse to take a big engagement, especially around that Roshan pit for the next couple of minutes. Because if Black doesn't have a buyout and they lose the Roshan fight, that could very easily be a Rax too.
Yeah, not just one Rax, most likely 2 Rax, since Black is the one with the farm on their team. They actually need him to be able to be in the fights and defend, and this could be really bad.
Oh, No Tail comes in, triple stun with the Finger of Death. The stolen RP comes out of Fly, but Black actually gets swapped out by Pos. He's going to be able to live. The 4-man vacuum comes out of Koikva, and Fnatic are currently on full retreat. That's a 4-staff out, and good lord, that was a lot of really good plays with basically no one dying on either side.
That was a great swap out from Pos there. Having the level 2 swap, you could really see the range coming in play there. He's actually hit level 11 not too long ago, so that level 2 swap for sure saved Black in that situation, because like you said, that was very important for him to survive. If he would have died there, they could have went straight for a Rax or just go for Roche and then into a Rax.
I can't believe that series of events. No Tail blinks in, triple stun, immediate Finger of Death, the Dagon comes out from Hani, and then before Fly is able to blink in and use a stolen RP, the swap comes out to save Black, because he would have for sure died with the extra follow-up. So, and that's actually still got a decent amount of time left on it, so he's got it for another minute or two, I think. But Mal's going for Roshan. Look at how fast this Roshan is going down. The minus armor right now, minus 11, and the damage output from Black is completely insane right now. The Aegis is going to go to Fata. Doesn't even necessarily need it, but not having the buyback again going to be a little bit troublesome. I think that if Mouse had their way, they would just turtle this out for the next couple of minutes. Yep. Oh no, they're not going to be able to turtle if Quaika gets caught, though. That Blinding Light actually set No Tail back below the river, but he 4-steps back up. Talk about ping-ponging right here, but Coil going to hit 2 on the backside. Quaika still being chased by Hani. Era, in the meantime, able to secure a kill on Alex, and that's going to be a stolen magic missile coming out of Fly. Trixie vacuumed up to the high ground. Can Quaika actually TP back to base? It looks like he will be successful in doing so. No Tail's stun, unfortunately, not going to be on point this time. And I got to say, man, No Tail's been playing a disgustingly good Lion this game.
Yeah, he's been on point with every art spike. He's hit 2 or 3 people pretty much every time. And his fingers has been really good as well, even though some of them have been more spike fingers and just throwing them out there. They've been very good.
Hani throwing a Spite Waning Rift of his own. I guess that's just how Fnatic is rolling right now. Look at this tower, man, just getting disintegrated by illusions. But, of course, just as I say that, Black comes in and kills the illusions pretty much instantly. So he's got 2,400 gold saved up. He's definitely going to be working his way towards that Abyssal. It's pretty much one of the last items that he can make before his inventory is completely full. I suppose he could sell a Shadow Blade and get something else, like maybe he wants a Butterfly himself just to be able to stand a little bit easier against those illusions of the Phantom Lancer. But when you're disabled, it doesn't really do anything anyway. If you get hexed out or you just get completely bursted by magic damage, it's going to be pretty much a moot point. Phantom Lancer is just sitting at a casual 7,200 gold himself. He has yet to decide what his final item is going to be. Definitely has enough for buyout, but his net worth has actually surpassed Black's at this point.
Yeah, and like you said, he's got money for buyback. And we'll have to see if he wants to go for either a crit or an MKB like we talked about.
Oh, Black could be getting caught here. There's the Hex. No Tail throws the finger of death. The Dagon's there as well. Pos actually swaps him again and forfeits his life in the process. Fata actually doesn't have mana to RP. Now he does, but he is unable to actually follow it up. So that could have potentially been a 2 or 3 man RP, but he miscalculates his mana, goes in, unable to actually use his ultimate whatsoever. He only has regular boots up until this point, so no arcanes. That definitely hurt him during that engagement.
And another great swap coming out of Pass there. The finger actually hitting him instead, since No-Till just pressed the first player that was there, because Black was for sure going to die from that finger of death. But Pass, again, like I said, swapping out Black, making him able to survive again because he doesn't have a buyback yet. I do believe, at least, his buyback should... Yeah, it's still down for 40 seconds, so... Yeah, great play by Mouse. Fnatic didn't manage to crack the base yet.
One of these times, Pos is not going to be fast enough, and Black's just going to go down. I mean, they've shown the intent. They want to kill him. They want to kill him more than anyone else on the team, bar none. And killing Pos, sure, it's okay. But as long as the Alchemist is alive, pushing becomes very, very difficult. His damage output is definitely not something that you can underestimate. Being able to throw down the Acid Spray, the sheer minus armor, and of course, Illuminate Spam, Shockwaves, Ion Shell. There's a lot of anti-push on the side of Mouse. So cracking the base, even with a Phantom Lancer, who ideally could have a 6-slot inventory at the moment, is still very, very difficult. Looks like Mouse is actually going to be grouping up here, walking down middle, like they want to be the ones who push. They still have that Aegis on Fata for a couple more minutes, so they're definitely wanting to make use of that. Sentry's going to be placed, and they're just going to go for it, man. They're going to try to siege. Black actually going to get hexed out here. He does still have track on him. Dagon 5 on a Fata and a Shuriken toss, but remember, he's the one who actually has the Aegis. Black actually pops the BKB. He's just going to go ahead and attack the tower. The Glyph is going to be there. Illuminate Spam goes off. Doesn't even hit the creep wave, though. More tracks being used. We'll see who wants to initiate first, and the bottom lane is actually being killed right now by Era, and they're just going to go for it. Pos actually no health to speak of whatsoever, and there's a coil there and the Earth Spike to finish him off. Fata getting quite low himself. Mecha's going to be popped by Quakefoot. Is it going to be enough? Fata actually still retreating, and Mouse are currently losing their base right now, so they really need to be winning this fight more than anything else. The bottom Rax is already dead, and Alex is forced to buy back. Quakefoot currently on the run. He is hexed, but very, very fast because of the surge. Hani does not have Dream Coil. He just used it middle, near the tier 3, but Era just gets the full set of bottom racks. They get the melee racks, and Era is just going to casually walk outside of the base. 12,000 gold right now on him.
Yeah, I mean, Mouse is just hesitating.
No-Tail comes up the hill. Oh, another Earth Spike into Dagon 5 and Finger combo. No-Tail could be dropping here, though. Black manages to get the kill. And the rest of Fnatic really don't look like they want to try to kill Black at the moment, because Era is still just being as annoying as possible, just split pushing like an absolute monster.
Yeah, Era split pushing a lot faster than Mouse could push in total, since Mouse was hesitating a lot. Farah didn't want to jump in and risk it, that Rubik stole the RP, so he was just kind of waiting. And even though he had an Aegis, he just tried to back out and stay as far away as possible to not get killed, which I think was a bit weird. Maybe just try and risk it, getting killed, have your team, or have their team move in against your team and then get an RP out. Could have been good, but funny.
Oh, Pos, goodbye. And another 3-man Earth Spike coming out of No-Tail. Trixie gonna get spotted out by the Sentry War. There's a nice Hex, though, coming out of No-Tail. Gonna get the mana drain off, but he is mana leaked, too, so eventually he is going to get sent out by this. BKB popped by Black. He wants to go for Fly instead, and that's 3 hits. A very, very dead Rubik. Fly immediately buys back. Alex dies on the backside, courtesy of Hani. Fata trying to catch him with a skewer, not going to be successful. Hani still trying to run away here. Drops the coil. Quakefoot currently pursuing. Trixie's going to be here as well. Oh, nice. Silence. They're going to be able to kill Fata before he uses the reverse polarity, but he does have that Aegis still. Black coming in with a Shadow Blade. Oh, but the Lincolns actually gets procced by the Abyssal Blade. Not going to be able to get the stun off. Hani blinked back up to the high ground. Unstable Concoction being used. There's another Hex from No-Tail. Can he get the stun off to make Black stun himself? This could be the end right here. Mega creeps, and yeah, Mouse. They just call the GG. Black goes down. 40-17, 51-minute game. I have to say, though, Mouse definitely held off a lot stronger than I think that was expected, and good lord, just look at all the items that he just bought. I mean, he just bought 2 Crystallis, a Sange and Yasha, 2 Ultimate Orbs, and I guess just a casual broadsword because he wanted one.
I mean, Yeah.
I don't know what else
Mouse
to say.
managed to hold off for quite some time, but Fnatic being so farmed, they could fight 4 versus 5 all the time because Arrow was split pushing all the time. During that last fight, he was just pushing. He didn't even care about his team, but his team was still winning the fights. So, just overall, great play from Fnatic.
Nice save, nice save. Very well done. Don't worry, Mike. You never would have heard the end of that if it actually went through. But 819 GPM on the Phantom Lancer. Black actually did a pretty respectable job keeping up his own farm. I don't think it's much of a stretch to say that Mouse were behind in that game from pretty much the get-go. So, I mean, everything considered, they managed to pick off Trixie, I guess, in the off-lane position, but that was pretty much it. The early game fights were a little bit sloppy. Fata died, what, 5 times solo to Hani?
4 or 5 times at least. Which was
in all cases, like, you talk about mid players and the impact they can have on a game, especially as a mag and a puck. If you die that many times, 1 versus 1, in a matchup where, sure, Puck has some decent kill potential, but Mag is a strength hero with a built-in escape mechanism. There's pretty much no excuse for that.
It's really hard. I mean, Fada was playing really overconfident right there. Hi.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not me. That's the game. Yes, that's
Here
me.
you go. Sorry.
Yeah, Fada was playing really overconfident. I think he relied too much on his HP, and because Puck could capitalize on that. There you go. Because Puck could capitalize on that, it just kept snowballing and snowballing. I think the Dagon actually worked out pretty fine. Not because of the Dagon itself, but the fact that you also had a Lion, and the double burst damage was huge, to the point that even late game the supports would pretty much die to those 2 hits and maybe an orb or just any other kind of damage.
Especially when Lion has a blink and a force. Combine that with a Puck mobility, with a blink. And a Rubik
with a blink and a force.
Yeah, it's just like they can just initiate from anywhere.
Yeah.
And then you have the Dagon 5, the Fade Bolt, the Lion ulti.
Yeah, it just felt that the Magnus couldn't impact the game as he should have been. Like, we saw just a couple of 3-banner Ps maybe, but nothing too crucial. Never the Phantom Lancer in the middle of it.
In my opinion, it actually helped, because Fnatic had Rubik and he stole RP 3 times?
2 or 3 times.
2 or 3 times and get like a 3-4 man RP, which turned the fight completely. Yeah. Also to note, which in your stats department is quite fun, is that Era on PL had 623 last hits.
Yes.
And Black on Alchemist had 362 and was only 100 gold per minute below.
Yes, that shows how easy
Grivel's Greed.
Yeah, Grivel's Greed gives you money. But in the end, people that were voting for Era being the top GPM, they were right.
Yep.
The Phantom Lancer got huge at the end. And, I mean, it was a bit anticlimactic because there was no big fight. There was just a bit of a skirmish here and there, and Phantom Lancer just, I'll right-click the towers, I'll win this game, and I'll buy lots of items because I can, I'm rich.
More money,
That's
more
why
problems.
they call him the Cancer. There's a reason why he has his nickname. And I should know. I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah. We should all shave our heads to show support as well.
Support. Support, hashtag
Support the
Walter
treatment.
White. But of course, we are going to be bringing you guys Game 2 here in just a couple of minutes. We've already got our post-game analysis pretty much out of the way, just waiting for Mouse and everyone to get inside of the game. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a short break, probably only 3 to 5 minutes maximum, and then we're going to be back with Game 2 between Mouse and Fnatic.
Yay.